Welcome everyone. In this video I'm going to go over the 4 challenges from my Arithmetic Operators video. So let's get started with challenge 1, which was very simple. Just ask the user for 2 inputs, add them together and then display the results. So this is have you paid attention to the video type of challenge. So the 2 inputs, let's do a console.writeLine and just please input number 1. And let's just copy that over just to save some time for a second input. Now because we're putting in numbers, I'm going to store them in integers. I might change it to a double later on just because that way we can use decimal points. Let's call this number 1 equals int.parse and the rest is done for us. Let's create a second one for the second number. And we'll need a third for the answer. And there we go. Let's output the result. And do a nice console.read key. So as always, we should be testing to see if it works correctly. Number 1, number 2. And that works correctly. Probably should test a few more times, but I know this is going to work fine. So second challenge was we're going to combine some selection statements from the previous video, and so they're going to do 2 inputs. M is going to be for adding, M is going to be for multiplying. No, M is going to be for multiply, A is for adding, the other way around. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one more user input. So console.writeLine, would you like to add or multiply? So always a good idea is to give them very clear instructions. You don't want your users confused with what they're supposed to do. So I'm going to put the 2 letters they need to do, A or M. And we're going to do a string. I could do a character, but I think it's easier. I wouldn't have to do any conversions because I think the selection statement doesn't like comparing characters. Well, I might test it out actually. So string user input. Actually, we'll call it user selection. I think that's a better name. And there we go. So from here, we're going to go if user selection equals M. We'll do A first, actually. Then we're just going to add them 2 together. Now, the thing you may notice here is, can you see that this answer has a red underline underneath it? That is because I've created the variable inside the if statement. So that means that only things inside this if statement can actually see this variable. If it's outside the if statement, it can't see the variable. That would be true if I created another if statement inside that. For example, let's say I created a second if statement. If I was to place the console.writeLine there, because it's inside this if statement, it cannot see it. So let me line this up correctly actually. So you can see that if statement ends. I've got too many brackets here, I think. There you go. So you can see that if statement ends here on this line here. This cannot see it. If I was to put the variable in there, now the right line can see the variable. So how do we get around this? What we can do is, instead of creating the integer on the same line as the answer, what I'm going to do instead is we're going to keep the answer there, but we're going to create the integer outside of the if statement. I've given it an initial value because it's always good practice to not leave variables blank even though I'm going to be filling in the variable, it's always good practice to give it some sort of value to start off with anyway. So there we go, that's the first if statement. Let's do a second if statement. I don't know why it's adding extra brackets there. Let's do it this way instead then. So the second one is m. And instead of using a plus this time, we're going to use the star. I've just realized I cut it instead of paste it. So we're going to use the asterisk 2 times. Let's put that back there. What am I doing? I think I'm pressing cut instead of copy. There we go. So A adds them together, M multiplies them. So let's put the 2 numbers, 4 and 5. I would like to add them together. That's 9. And the other one would be multiplying them together. So M for multiply. And there we go. You do have to use the same case. So I've used capital A. And I've used capital M, which means I have to match the capital A in the capital. There is a way of converting a lowercase to an uppercase, so even if they put in a lowercase, it will turn it into an uppercase. So the way you can do that is go user selection equals user selection and to upper. And that forces it to be uppercase. So if I was to do that now, let's do 4 and 5. And I would like to multiply lowercase m, and it still works because it converted it to the uppercase in line 23. So next challenge, we have a conversion. So convert between pounds and another currency of your choice. So let's say we want to convert from pounds to dollars. I don't know the exact convert rate, so let's say that £1 is $1.2. So please enter the number of pounds. So I'm going to rename this variable to pounds, not puns. I want to rename them to pounds. We're going to say dollars equals pounds multiplied by, and this is where you need to look up your conversion rate. So if $1 if £1 was $1.2, I would need to multiply pounds by 1.2, and then we'll output that result, output the dollars. We have got cannot convert a double to an int. This is where we need to, because I'm using decimals now, let's not use integers, let's use doubles. So we'll do double, double, and we'll do double dot pass. There we go. So if I have £4, that's going to be $4.80. And there we go. So the final one was a little bit tricky. So you need to work out how many slices of pizza each person will get at a party. So we need to ask the user how many people there, ask the user how many pizzas there are, and ask the user how many slices per pizza there are. So your program will calculate the output and how many slices each person will get. So first thing is we'll get all of the user inputs. So we're going to put it down into integers because we're going to convert it to integers. The reason is because I don't want to be giving someone like half a slice of pizza. I want to give whole pizzas, and we'll see how many remain. So how many people? That's the first one. I'll go people equals int dot pass console dot read line. So that's our people. How many pizzas? So the pizzas, let's just call it number of pizzas. And the third one is slices. How many slices does each pizza have? Now, if you were stuck on this one, this is your big clue of what to do next. So if you think you know what to do after this, then go ahead. If you're still stuck on what to do, then I'm going to do one more clue, is create another integer that shows the total slices. So we've got the number of pieces and we've got the number of slices per pizza. So if we multiply the number of pizzas with the slices, we then have a total number of slices. So see if you can pause now and work out how do we then know how many people gets each slice. So the solution to that is we'll create a third variable, no, not a third, a fifth variable called slices per person, and all we do is we get the people divided by the total slices. Now I've done an integer because what I might do is I'm going to do a remainder as well. And that's why I've done them as integers. I don't want any decimals in these results. So instead of dividing, we're going to do mod, which is done by it's one. Yeah, one of those. One percentage symbol. So this is going to show the number of slices, and this is going to show the remainder. So we'll output them on the screen. Console right line. There are slices per person. And on the next line, I'm going to output there are the number of remainders. And there we go. So let's test it out. So let's say we've got 5 people. We've got 5 pizzas, and each pizza has 4 slices. So not slices per person, so I've done something wrong with this one. So I've done a little once over with the code, and I've just noticed that I'm doing it the wrong way around. I should be doing total slices divided by people, not the other way around. I've also noticed I've spelled people wrong, so let's fix that now. Like, you probably already spotted that before me, because I'm kind of dumb sometimes. And obviously if we want the remainder, we need to do that the other way around as well. So total slices mod people, and that should get us the correct result. So let's say we have 5 people, 5 numbers of pizzas, and 4 slices each. That logically should make everyone get 4 slices with no remaining slices. So let's say we now had 5 people, 6 pizzas, 5 slices each pizza. So everyone gets 6 slices and no remaining slices. Let's try 5, 6, and 7. So 8 slices of pizza per person with 2 remaining slices. And that is how it's done. And that's why I wanted to do it live as well, because you can see the kind of easy mistakes you can make, and just going over, just looking at your code carefully, and you can see, oh, even though there's no red underlines, I made what's called a logical error, and I needed to go fix that error, because even though the program works correctly, it doesn't do what I intended it to do. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you learned something new, make sure you give a like and subscribe. I will see you guys next time.